Nishant Kazibatla is a memory expert.
8 of spades.
He's trained himself to remember impossibly long sequences of shapes, colours and numbers.
2 of spades.
But it's something any of us has the power to do.
3 of spades.
Nishant's world is no different to ours. He doesn't have special powers. In fact, the way he memorizes is really no different to the rest of us.
I mean, most people think that there's something which I'm born with. It's actually not the case. I've actually learned a method consciously. I memorized almost a 2,000-digit number. But the thing is, it takes practice, just like anything else.
So what's his secret? And what can we learn about human memory from the way Nishant's brain works?
My method is pretty simple, actually. I mean, most people would agree with me if I say that the brain remembers pictures better than anything else. So whatever information I have in front of me, it could be a card number, it could be a telephone number, it could be a deck of cards, or any information which I want to memorize, the first thing I try to do is to convert that into a picture.
Hello and welcome to Talk Vietnam. I'm Mai Phuong, and on our show today you'll be meeting this very, very special person. He's special because he trained himself to have great memory, and he's also a record holder, a world record holder for memory. So you want to listen to him because he's going to tell us a little bit about how to have better memory. So let's meet Mr. Nishant.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's a very great pleasure to have you here. So first of all, tell me a bit. I know that you are one of the 122 people to hold the, to be a master of memory in the world, right?
That's right.
Tell me how you got that title.
Yeah, it's called the Grand Master of Memory, and to be able to get that, first of all, you have to be a participant at the World Memory Championships. So I mean, many people are surprised that there's actually a World Memory Championship, which actually has been conducted for more than a decade now. So if you want to be a Grand Master of Memory, number one, you go to the championships, and then there are several things that you need to do. When I became a Grand Master, there are 3 things that I wanted to do, I needed to do. Number one is to memorize a sequence of 1 deck of playing cards in less than 2 minutes.
And that's 52 cards.
52 cards shuffled and given to me, and I get about 2 minutes time to look at the sequence of the cards, memorize the whole sequence. That's number one. Number 2 is memorize a sequence of 7 decks of playing cards.
7 decks.
So that's 354 cards.
Wow.
So there's, and of course I get longer time, 1 hour, to go through all the cards and then memorize the whole sequence of all the cards. And the last one is to memorize at least a 713-digit number in 1 hour. So normally telephone digits are like 7 or 8 digit numbers. So imagine a number consisting of 700 plus digits.
Right.
So if you do all these 3 things, then you become a grandmaster. So I trained myself to be there. It took me quite some time to get there, but I'm happy I did it.
Exactly. So tell me about the process of you getting there, about the training that you gave yourself.
Yeah, it all started because, you know, to start with, I really didn't have a good memory to begin with. I mean, I had a very lousy memory. So I was always looking for ideas of how I can really do well in school. I was in college at that time. And I said, okay, I mean, why is my memory so bad? I mean, why is it that some people can just look at a textbook and then in a surprisingly short periods of time can memorize a lot more, whereas I have to struggle a lot. So I was just, you know, exploring, are there ways in which you can improve your memory? So, and back then, this is about 16, 17 years ago, there was no internet. And the only way you can get knowledge is by going to the library. Exactly. And, you know, I'm originally from India, and, you know, at that time, the libraries were not really well stocked. So, but luckily, I had access to a very good library near my house, where there were some books on memory. So, for the first time in my life, I realized that, oh my goodness, memory is something that can be trained like any other skill. So I read the books, started practicing what is in the books, and within no time I could see some real good results. I could improve my memory. I mean, it was showing in my results, it was showing in my grades, and also it was showing in my whole life. And I said, okay, let me take it to the next level. So because I was a student, I had a lot of time at my end, I practiced a lot, and then finally I came to know about the World Championships, and I said, okay, let me practice for that. So that's, in a nutshell, you know, how I got into this field of improving memory.
So poor memory in the beginning was actually the reason that drove you to training, you know, to have a better memory, right?
You can say that, yeah. I mean, one is, of course, the poor memory. The other is also I'm very curious about many things in life. So that I think a part of the curiosity also wanted to see, I mean, what else can I do with my memory, with my brain? So, and then having a good memory was one of the avenue to satiate that curiosity.
In order to have a clearer look at the memory ability of Nishant, he's basically going to show us his memory skills through this first challenge, and it's going to be a color challenge. And we have the audience here with us. Each one of them is going to basically hold a color, and Nishant's going to basically remember the sequence of those colors in a very, very short period of time. So let's take a look. All right, you ready, Nishant?
Yeah, looks like. Okay, so so when I say go, so you show me the cards, and then I'll take about 5 or 6 seconds to remember the number. So until that time, please display it. And then when I say next, you put the cards back, and then you go to the next person. Okay? Okay, begin. Go ahead. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, I'll tell you the colors first, and then you verify it, saying that, yeah, this is the one. So we'll start from here. Green and yellow. Okay. Red and blue. Thank you. Yellow and red. Okay. Blue and green. Thank you. Yellow and green. The next would be blue and yellow. Thank you. Blue and green. Okay, the next one also is blue and green. Okay, green and yellow. Okay, next is blue and green. Thank you. Red and blue. Red and blue. Yes. The next one would be blue and yellow. Yeah. Blue and green. Thank you. Red and yellow. Nice. And yellow. Yellow and red. Yes. Then would be red and green. Yellow and red. Yeah. Blue and red. The next is blue and yellow. And the last sequence is green and red.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So tell me a bit about exactly what went through your head, as you
while doing this. For every 2 color combinations, I have an image.
I see.
The blue and red is a bar. Blue and red and blue is a rope. Every 2 colors combination is one image for me.
I see.
So when I'm actually looking at these things, I'm really not focusing on the
color.
colors. I mean, I do look at the colors, but actually I'm thinking of the image that is represented by these colors in my own brain.
I see.
So as you can imagine, it takes a bit of groundwork to be able to come up with an image and also code it and decode it.
Nishant Kasibatla is the director of Memory Vision Private Limited in Singapore. Nishant is a motivational speaker and trainer with over 15 years of experience in conducting training in areas such as peak mental performance, memory improvement, enhancing productivity, and motivation. Engaging, inspiring, genuine, humorous, practical. These are some of the adjectives that people could use to describe Nishant in any of his training program. With his sterling performance, Nishant has indeed generated a positive buzz among the participants. He took pains to prepare for the presentation and connected well with the audience with his delivery. He gave the audience very interesting nuggets of information and wrapped up well with practical applications. So define for me, what do you consider a good memory?
Okay, a good memory is something which I feel is if you can remember all the important things that you want to remember as a part of your life. Now that is a good memory. Now a very frequently asked question for me as a memory expert is, Nishant, do you forget? Now the answer for that is, of course, yeah, I do forget. But the thing is, a good memory means being able to remember things in a better fashion than most of the people and forgetting less than most of the people. So I do remember all the important things that matter to me in my life. So a good memory is that.
Exactly. So now you're also a motivational speaker, and you're also one of the people who help a lot of the people with their own memory. So tell me a bit about why you chose to do that.
Yeah, actually, it happened more by accident. I started teaching my friends. It's not teaching; I would call it just sharing.
Sharing.
How I have gone about improving my memory, and I said, "Hey, this is how you do it." And then they started getting the results as well, and I said, "Wow."
Wow.
And then some of them suggested that, Nishant, why don't you take it up as a profession? Because there are a lot of people in the world who need good memory, and then you already have a good memory. You've trained yourself, so why don't you teach it to people? So that's how it started, and never in my wildest dreams I would have imagined that I will be a professional speaker, motivational speaker. It all just happened as an accident, and I call it a happy accident. I'm very happy that it happened to me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I also think it's amazing because I think, a lot of the times we think we are born with good memory. We compare ourselves to other people with really great memory, but to be able to know that a person like you who started training yourself in college, to start at a later age in life and still be able to achieve something, I think it's very inspirational.
Yeah, absolutely. And what you just said, when people have bad memory, or they keep telling themselves that, okay, I can't do anything about it. That's it. I mean, I'm born like this. And they look at other people who actually have a good memory and they think that, oh my God, I mean, he's gifted or she's gifted, and that's the reason why their memory is very good. But the moment you realize that human memory is also like any other skill, like for example, you can learn how to play golf. You can learn how to play the guitar. Similarly, you can learn how to improve your memory. It's just a question of awareness, number one, that it is possible. Number two is, of course, to learn the techniques. And number three,
Exactly.
practice these techniques. Everyone in the planet can have a fantastic memory.
Yeah, so also the rule is to practice, practice, and know exactly how
To do
practice.
it, yes, absolutely.
So let's talk a bit about, kind of like the enemy of memory. This day and age, the IT, the iPad, the iPhone, and all that technology that's available for us to not have to remember things. So
That's
do you
right.
think that a person with good memory will be less reliant on that technology?
Absolutely. Now, one thing I say in my workshops when I do programs all over the world is, you see smartphones. The smartphones are becoming smarter and smarter and smarter.
Exactly.
And the human brains are becoming dumber and dumber and dumber. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying smartphones are bad. Smartphones are good for a reason, because they actually help you to be more productive. But to be in a situation where you totally become a slave to the technology, so much so that you don't remember anything at all, is actually not a good thing for your brain, because your brain, like any other rest of the part of the body, needs exercise. You have to give it some kind of training to be able to perform at peak. So yeah, so technology, good thing, but don't become too reliant on it. Use your brain on a regular basis for remembering some small bits of information. It's really helpful for you.
Right. Are there any times at all where technology becomes something that will help you remember better?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of new technologies coming being researched right now. I think one of the things is, the Google Glass. I think that looks very interesting, because, I mean, if I look at you, now I know that your name is Phoebe, that's what you told me. And 10 days later I see you again and I say, oh, I've seen you somewhere, but what's your name? But if I'm wearing a Google Glass, probably it's all wired up, and then, it can actually take a picture of you as I'm walking towards you. You can tell me what your name is. But that's in the future. I think right now, yeah, people use iPads and all those smartphones to write down things they need to remember. To some extent, yes, people are outsourcing their memory to these technological aids.
Why do you have a bad memory? How to boost my memory? How can I maximize my brain power? These are some of the questions hundreds of participants seek for the answers at the recent seminar with the Grandmaster of Memory, Guinness Book Record holder Nishant Kasibala in his visit to Vietnam. During a 3-hour talk, the Grandmaster of Memory had an impressive talent he's willing to share. Many of the audience members began to realize that one could remember things better if they start using the memory in the way it should be used.
Em là sinh viên thì em nghĩ là nếu mà em có thể tiếp thu hết những cái gì mà ông ấy nói thì sẽ rất có tác dụng trong cái việc học của em.
Bài thực hành rất là thú vị của diễn giả thì biến từ những cái ngôn ngữ thành hình ảnh và mình ghi nhớ trong đầu. Cái công cụ đó rất là thú vị và em sẽ áp dụng nó thường xuyên trong công việc của cuộc sống.
After a year of negotiation and preparation, the organizer of the event, the PVI company, could finally succeeded in bringing Nishant to Vietnam, despite his busy schedule with training courses and speeches around the world.
Anh có nói với ông một cái điều là hãy đến, bởi vì người dân Việt Nam rất là ham học hỏi và những cái mà cái kiến thức của ông có thể chia sẻ được nó sẽ giúp ích cực nhiều cho những cái người dân Việt Nam. Và dĩ nhiên thì về cái vấn đề chi phí thì sau một cái quá trình trao đổi thì vì ông ấy nhận được là cái tấm lòng của mình, cái mà mình muốn đem đến cho cái người Việt Nam, thì ra thì cái vấn đề chi phí Chánh nghĩ cũng không phải là cái vấn đề quá lớn. Tuy nhiên cái thời gian để chuẩn bị rồi làm tại thành phố Hồ Chí Minh và Hà Nội thì chắc chắn là phải cần cái sự chuẩn bị rất là nỗ lực của cái ekip.
Nishant claims to have trained 25,000 people in workshops held in 7 countries over the past decades. Courses such as the one Nishant offers could improve a person's memory, but he says attending a workshop will not produce results. These are techniques that you've got to continue working on a daily basis.
So let's talk a bit about your Vietnam trip this time.
Yeah.
In Vietnam this time, what are you hoping to bring to the Vietnamese audience?
The main aim is to spread the message, like I said, that memory is something that can be trained. And number two is to conduct some workshops, some training programs for people to take their memory to the next level. People have to learn a lot of things on a daily basis. And the biggest problem which people have is that of retention. Now people learn things, that's okay, but how do you retain it? Many people tell me that, Nishant, I can learn things quickly, but my problem is I forget them quickly too. So being able to remember information and pay attention to information when the information is coming in, and being able to retain it for as long as you want it, I think that is the important skill. Whether you're a student, whether you're a salesperson, whether you're a business owner, whether you're a professional, doesn't matter. Anyone needs to have a good memory, good focus, good learning skills so that they can do better in their life. And that is what is my goal for the people in Vietnam as well, to share my ideas of how they can do it too.
And you've been working in over 15 countries already.
True.
So what's the experience in Vietnam different from all the rest of the experiences?
I mean, one thing I really admire the audiences here is they're very hungry to learn. And also they're very much willing to practice these techniques immediately after they learn, which is a very encouraging thing for me, because one of the best things that can happen to a person like me is I share some ideas and people get benefited by these ideas.
Let's talk a bit about your students. You've been coaching people for about 15 years now.
15 years, yeah, 16 years.
Has there been any student whose life has changed because of the application of your techniques or methods?
Many actually, because...
Can you tell us a story?
Yeah, sure. There are many people. I mean, I can't even count how many there are, because I've in the last 15 years I think I've done this training to a few 100,000 people. For example, we've trained one of the students in India, and he went to the World Memory Championships as well 1 or 2 years ago, and in the kids section, because in the World Championship you have general category and you have the kids category. So this guy, our student, actually he won the gold medal in the kids section. So just proves to the point that anyone can be trained to have a good memory. One of my participants in Singapore, and he's I think about 65 years old, about 60 definitely, and one of the things he wanted to memorize was the sequence of pi.
The sequence of pi, the 3.14 something.
Yeah, 3.1 is a never-ending number.
Yes.
So and he said, hey, can I memorize 100 digits of pi after this attending your workshop? I said, yeah, sure, definitely. And then he went on to memorize the first 800 digits of pi after the program is over. So even for students, go to the exam, and one of my students, he was getting D's and C's most of the time, and then he went to the program, and in this entire cohort of I think 133 students, he stood first.
Wow, that's amazing.
From going from D all the way to number 1, and also got a scholarship from the school in Singapore, for the Minister of Education. We have the scholarship award for top performers.
Yes,
So he even got that.
Wow.
So it can, because learning is something that we all want, everyone in the world wants it. So this program, these techniques can really enable people to do that.
Tell me a bit about what's the most interesting, what's the most pleasurable thing about your job now that you're a memory expert?
I mean, there are many, because number one, I get to travel all over the world, meet different people, different cultures. I think the most memorable thing, the most enjoyable thing for me is to see a change in people's thinking about their memory. I think that's what my main message is. So at the end of my talk, at the end of this interview, if I can really inspire people, saying that, hey, you know what, you already have a good memory, just use it a little bit more, and then you can really have a magnificent memory. So that's a message for me, and I see many people tell me that, Nishant, thank you very much, because after attending your talk, or after seeing you on TV or whatever, I started using my memory in a better fashion, and now I can remember a lot.
So right now we have 20 items on the table,
Okay.
and then we would want you to basically remember those 20 items. I'll put them away afterwards, And then once you guess them, I'll put them again on the table.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, you ready? So I'm going to basically take this away.
Okay. Okay.
All right, I'm going to put all of them away.
Okay, sure.
Okay, now my worry is whether I'll be able to take out that, that same object.
Yeah, okay.
All right.
So,
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's
Shall I do it now? Okay.
let's start.
Okay, the items, the first one is scissors.
Scissors.
Okay, let's keep it here. You want me to keep it the same way I just did before?
Wow, that'll be amazing.
You can try. I'm not
Let's
sure
try.
about that. There's a notepad.
There's a notepad.
Yes.
There it is.
There was a tape.
There's
Some
tape.
Yeah,
There's the tape.
something like this. And then there was a post-it.
There
a
is
very narrow post-it. Yeah, orange color.
Post-it.
Yeah. And then there's a cone.
There is a
Seashell cone.
seashell cone.
Yeah, seashell cone. And then there's birthday candles.
Birthday candles.
Yes.
They're right there.
After the birthday candles, what do you have? You have a bracelet.
We do have a bracelet.
Yeah, bracelet. There's a CD, audio CD.
There is an audio CD.
After the audio CD is a deer, toy of a deer.
Yes, there is a deer. Made in Hoi An.
Hoi An.
Yes, made in Hoi An.
Okay. That is at the ceramic village.
Yes.
Okay, and then there's a deco stamp.
There is a deco stamp.
Yeah. Cool. Like that. There's anti-mosquito repellent. Mosquito repellent.
Anti-mosquito repellent. Here it is.
Okay. Yeah. A stapler. A bowl of toffees. A computer mouse. Then there's the eyeglasses with a case. 2 markers, 2 highlighters, green and orange. Yeah, some here. Yes. A marker, red color marker. DV cassette tape. A business card, yours.
My business card.
I think that's all.
There's one more.
There's one more?
Yes.
Oh, really? What else is missing? Must be there, I guess, somewhere in that case.
It's the thumbtacks.
Oh, the thumbtacks. Okay. Thumbtacks are here. Okay. Yeah, okay, there you have it. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So tell me a bit about, what went through your head, and also, let's say when you encounter a problem such as one you had just now, what do you do to basically recall?
Yeah, so what is happening is I use a simple association technique here. So something like, I take a scissors and I take the notepad, cut it up, and then from the notepad, I cut up all the papers, and then I use a tape to fix them together. And then I use the post-it tabs to mark the things. And so I had to use some kind of linking of these items with the next thing and have fun in the process. Use a bit of imagination, just like if you watch a Tom and Jerry cartoon. There's a lot of funny things that happen in the cartoons, and that's the reason why everyone enjoys looking at cartoons, because it's not possible in real life. It's also expression of imagination.
Exactly.
So it's all fun things. So that's what I just did here. Yeah.
So you basically created a story out of all of these things that are on the table.
That's right. Yeah.
That's great. What are some of the techniques that people can use to basically remember better?
So there are 3 things that are very critical to improve your memory. So I call them VAP. So 3 letters. So V stands for visualization. So whatever information that you want to remember, if you can try to visualize that in some way or the other, then you're actually helping your brain to remember that for a long time. That's V. So A is association. Association means linking one thing with another. Whatever you learn things by association. I mean, most of the times we may not be conscious of this process. So if you become conscious at the time of association, then you'll remember for a long time. So V, A, and P. P stands for pleasure. You must also have fun in the learning process. Unfortunately, what's happening in today's world is people equate stress with learning. I have never seen a student who is opening the books and saying, wow, I love this. It's so VAP, visualization, association, and pleasure. Just to give you a simple example of how you can connect all these three things together. Let's take my name, Nishant. It's very unlikely for people in Vietnam or people from other cultures to remember that name because there's no visual. There's no association. It's not fun. But can you think of something that sounds like Nishant? Now, many people say it's like the Nissan car.
The Nissan car.
So, I mean, it's not exactly sounding similar, but hey, Nissan car, I can visualize. I can see the picture in the mind's eye. Nishant, there's no picture. So that's visualization. So A is association. So now you have to associate me with the Nissan car. Probably you can say that, you know, I'm driving a Nissan car. And then the P is pleasure. So have fun in the process. Maybe you can just visualize that I'm driving the Nissan car and I'm flying in the air. It might not happen. It will not happen in real life. But just to have some fun effect here. So, or maybe I'm standing on top of a Nissan car. Some kind of fun, some kind of using your imagination. If you do that, so chances are pretty high that you'll remember my name because you've done some effort in remembering my name, my face, and connecting my name with me.
So let's talk a bit about you. You know,
Okay.
you're a person who remembers a lot about people's names, their personal preferences, and a lot of other things.
Sure.
So how has memory actually helped you in real daily life?
Now, as a professional speaker, so I have to do new presentations. Now, one of the things for presentations is, you know, when you go to a presentation, many people have a fear of forgetting what they have to speak. And that's the reason why, you know, they depend too much on notes, or they depend too much on PowerPoint or stuff like that. Then what happens is, you know, when you're using too much of notes and we're talking in a scenario, so you don't come across as a person who's credible. So for me, as a professional speaker, I don't memorize. I don't use notes. Actually, it looks awkward for a memory expert to use
be
notes
looking at something
and do
to
things. So
remind
whether it's a
yourself.
2-day program or it's a half-day program or a 1-hour talk, I always memorize my information. I just go there and do that. That's number one. Number two is focus, because what I say is if you improve your memory, not only your memory goes up, but also your focus goes up. You'll be able to focus on anything that you want for a longer periods of time. So there are many things. For example, I'm talking to my spouse. Now, any spouse would be happy if you're paying attention to what the spouse is saying.
Yes.
So I can do that because I've trained my memory, I've trained my brain, so I can focus on what my wife is saying. Or if I'm playing with my son, I'm really paying attention to my son and his needs, or, you know, what is the game that we're playing. So that actually improves the relationship which I have with my son, with my spouse. So, or for example, as a part of my job, I have to meet a lot of clients. So I meet a person and I tell, hey, and I get the name. And of course, I remember the person's name. And the next, say, 5 months later, 6 months later, I see the person again, and I call the person with their name. That's actually such a good way of telling other people that, hey, I care for you.
Exactly.
So these small things are how I can how make my life better. By virtue of my training, I can do these things naturally. Wow, now the orange.
Training the memory not only benefits his work, but also his daily life. At home, Nishant often uses his expertise in memory to give some simple practice to his 3-year-old son, Awish. He plays with Awish memory games on the iPad or matching cards. Whenever he gets the answers right, he encourages him. Whenever he gets it wrong, he explains him why. At the age of 3, the boy has a quite good memory. He is fluent in English, Hindi, and Mandarin.
Yes.
During the time in Vietnam, the whole family spends some time visiting to the zoo in Hanoi. Nishant takes every chance he has to teach his boy how to memorize things better.
When I was going through the zoo and all that, so later on we're going to test him. So what are the animals you've seen? What is the sequence of the animals that he has seen? How many different colors of balls were there? So all these things are basically on what has happened today. We actually give him a little bit of test on, it's not really a test, but we just encourage him to recall. He will not think that this is work. He'll not think that this is serious study or something like that. He's enjoying the process, and that's the reason why it's also very easy for him. So yeah, when learning is fun, learning is easy, as I say. So definitely that's the right combination.
So now let's talk about your wife and your son. I know your son is 3 years old.
Yeah.
And you've already started teaching him something.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit.
At a very minor level, because some of the techniques are very much advanced and require some kind of thinking process which he might not have yet. So, but we did start him on simple memory exercises, like, you know, matching the cards. And nowadays we have technology that's where, again, it can really help, because there's several apps which you can play on Android or in Apple Store, where you can download some memory games, some concentration games, so which are very much suited for the young children.
That's great.
And one thing to add on that is when we play with him, when he plays on the games, we make sure that we are with him. It's not that, okay, you go and you play, but we actually are with him to helping him play, and then we actually make it as a family thing rather than he just playing himself, but we play along with him. So that way we see that, you know, his confidence goes up, and if he's doing something right, we encourage him, and if he's saying something wrong, if he's doing something wrong, we tell them, hey, that's not the way to do it, this is the way to do it. So we actually look forward to those sessions, and I'm sure he looks forward to those sessions as well.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
And so what about for other people, you know, for people that have a chance to kind of like decide at what age to start training on memory? What do you think is an appropriate time?
Yeah, some of the techniques which I talk about, like visualization, association, pleasure, all these things make sense for people who are 10 years and above. But if a child is 10 years and younger, I'll say from birth to 9 years, so for them I recommend that the parents learn the techniques and they in turn teach the children. I mean, if your parents are teaching the children, then you can start as young as 4 years, 3-4 years, you can start them. But if they're learning from me, I would say that minimum it's 10 years onwards, because some of these techniques, it's suited for them at that level.
Right, right, I see. So we're going to go on to our next memory exercise, where Nishant is basically going to show us how he remembers numbers. And what's going to happen is that each of the audience members is going to basically say out a single-digit number, and there's going to be 30 of those. And Nishant's going to basically attempt to remember those 30 in a very short period of time. All right,
Yes.
so let's start.
Sure.
Please.
Thank you.
Okay, so audience, please give me your first number.
9,
9,
Right?
6,
6,
Right?
7,
7,
Right?
8,
8,
Right?
1, 4, 8, 5, 9, 4, 9, 2, 6, 5,
Right?
3, 2, 5, 8, 1, 6, 0, 5, 3, 7, 9, 3, 2, 9, 1.
8,
Last number, number 8. All right, we have our 30 numbers on the board.
Okay, now I recall?
Please.
Okay, so numbers are 9, 6, 7, 8, 1, 4, 8, 5, 9, 4, 9, 2, 6, 5, 3, 2, 5, 8, 1, 6, 0, 5, 3, 7, 9, 3, 2, 9, 1, 8.
Perfect. Wow.
Thank you.
That's amazing.
So let me recall the same number now in the backward sequence.
Please.
Okay, I'll try to recall the same sequence now from the last digit to the first digit in the backward sequence. Let's see. The numbers in the backward sequence are 8, 1, 9, 2, 3, 9, 7, 3, 5, 0, 6, 1, 8, 5, 2, 3, 5, 6, 2, 9, 4, 9, 5, 8, 4, 1, 8, 7, 6, 9.
That's amazing. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Please
thanks.
take a
Thank you.
seat.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about, one more time, what went through your head and how you visualized the numbers.
So in essence, what I'm doing is I'm actually converting these numbers or chunks of numbers into pictures. So similarly here, like I already gave an example, that 9 could be a string with a balloon, so 6 could be a hockey stick. So that's one idea. But when you do that, what happens is you have 30 different images because each digit is one image. But what I have is a little bit more advanced method. So what I can do is, instead of just taking an image for just one digit, I actually can take an image for 3 digits at one time. I can take an image for 4 digits at one time. So depending on how the number flows, so on the spot I decide whether I take 2 digits at one time or 3 digits at one time or 4 digits at one time. So essentially what I'm doing is I'm visualizing these numbers in my mind, and I'm using some kind of association to help me remember the sequence of all the numbers. So that's in a nutshell what's happening in my brain.
And I think in our audience today, I think there are a lot of people who would want to try a little bit about that, that VAP that you talked about,
Yes,
the
sure.
visual association and also the pleasure. So
Yeah.
why don't we try that with the audience for about 10 numbers, and maybe you can teach them how to do the VAPs on those numbers.
Definitely, yeah, sure, definitely. Is it the numbers or the words we're talking about?
What would you prefer, numbers or words?
Yeah, words would be easier.
Let's do it. Let's do it with words
yeah,
then.
That's right, yeah,
All right.
sure.
Let's do it. Let me first erase the board first.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so now we're going to have all the 10 words coming from the audience, and I'm going to write that on the board. So please start the first person.
Music.
Music. Next one.
Car.
Car.
Lipstick.
Lipstick. Very girly, I love it. Next. Dress. I like how the guys are saying music and car and the girls are saying lipstick and dress. Next.
Flower.
Flower.
Another girl word.
Next.
Brain.
Brain.
Brain, okay.
Sunglasses.
Sunglasses. You're the one that's giving me all the long words, right? It's you, isn't it? Next.
Table.
Table.
Movie.
Movie. All right, I need one more.
Umbrella.
Umbrella.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, yeah.
Okay, so Nishant, we have all our
Okay.
10 words.
So let's say we have to remember these words. So normally, the normal technique would be to just learn by rote, by repetition. And when that happens, it's not really fun, and people really forget the information after 10 minutes, after half an hour. But let's try to use the VAP, the visualization, association, and pleasure. So you could use this not only for random words like this, but also you could use it for memorizing anything that is in a sequence format. And like I said, this is just a basic technique, VAP. There's even more advanced methods with the help of which you can memorize anything else as well. So let's look at this thing. So we use VAP. So I look at the word music, I look at the word car, so I just combine these two words into one word, which is a musical car. I just visualize you enter into a musical car, and inside the car, there is, instead of the steering wheel, there is a lipstick. So you take the lipstick and you draw the picture of a dress. With the lipstick, you draw the picture of a dress. And this dress is a very interesting dress because this dress has a lot of flowers on it. Different colors of flowers. So the more visualization it is, the better. The more imagination you use, the better it is. So different kinds of flowers in it. And flowers and brain. So you look at the flower and imagine that all the flowers are forming themselves into the shape of a brain. Okay? And just visualize that the brain is wearing the sunglasses, just the brain, not the person. Now, just like I told you, remember the Tom and
Pleasure.
Jerry cartoon, the
Yes.
pleasure? So it's just
Pleasure.
fun. So the brain is wearing the sunglasses, and directly in front of the sunglasses, the vision is a table. Now, on the table, there is a movie playing. Just imagine there's a table, and the movie is playing on the table, and it's about to rain, so you want to protect the movie not to get wet, so use the umbrella to block the rain, basically.
And now for a much bigger list, for like a 50-item list, would
Yeah.
you also create similar stories as well?
Yeah, we can use the similar stories as well, but that's where you can use a little
Groups.
bit more advanced techniques as well. So
I see.
maybe we can chunk. It's all about chunking. So, and also one thing is we are linking one word with the other. So there are many other techniques where you don't link one word with the other, but also link words with the locations
I
that
see.
you see around. But yes, it doesn't matter. You could take a list of 25, 50 words, it's all about how good the quality of your visuals is, how good the quality of your association is, and whether you're really having fun or not.
Exactly.
So
And from what I've seen, you know, it's a lot of fun. The brain wearing sunglasses, looking at a table. Like, I would totally laugh at that, and I do enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's very easy, isn't it?
Do you want to like test one of our audiences and see if they've remembered?
Yeah, if anyone like to volunteer? Yeah.
All right, please. Now, what I want you to do is not look at the board, and then just look at Nishant, or look at the camera, and basically recall all those 10 items for me.
Music, car, lipstick, the red flower, brain, lassie, table, movie, umbrella. Brilliant. That's actually
Perfect. Thank you so much.
That's very good. Yeah.
Thank
That was
you.
fast. Yeah.
All right, thanks so much for that tip. And
My pleasure. Yeah.
It's pretty obvious that, you know, the people can get it really, really
Very
quick as
easy.
well.
And I really challenge all of you to try this 24 hours later and see if you can still remember. And surprisingly, you will do it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And as the last question for you, you know, is there anything that you would like to tell the Vietnamese audience about memory, or about, you know, how to basically improve their memory power at all?
It's my main message for everyone, so including the people in Vietnam, is practice your memory. And I think there are a number of avenues where you can actually use your memory on a regular basis. So use more of your memory, so keep learning new information, and then that's how you can win the world in the information age.
All right, thank you so much, Nishant, for being on our show today, and we really do appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure being on this show. Thank you.
All right, that's it for this edition of Talk Vietnam. And remember Nishant's tip, and you're on your way to basically unleash your memory power. So make a place for Talk Vietnam next week on your weekly to watch memory. That's it for now. Goodbye.